Hey, what's up? It's Rashad. OG, of course, Antonio. Secret Invasion. Oh, that's a dope shirt. Episode 4, Beloved. All spoilers. Of course, we got to talk about the thing to talk about the thing. And this was another short episode,
Yes.
but it was definitely the largest budget episode of the season
Oh
so
yeah.
far. I'm just gonna dive right into this, man.
Let's go, baby.
I This was a really good episode for me because it kind of encapsulates everything that I love about the MCU. We
Mm-hmm.
have really decent reveals. We have really good acting, especially from Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah.
this episode, and
Yeah.
also Don Cheadle. You know what I'm saying? They let Don Cheadle show a side of him that they never really show, and that's just him being funny and real comedic. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? They kind of
Mm-hmm.
did it a little bit in Age of Ultron. You know, the
Yeah.
boom looking for this. We just making a
Yeah.
joke, but it was more like him being ironically funny, not real funny,
Right.
because Don Cheadle is a funny
Funny
actor.
dude. He's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yeah.
ever seen like the old Funny or Die skits?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
yo, he's
Or better
funny.
yet, any of the ocean movies.
Yo, he was so
Oh,
good at Oceans. I thought he was British. You know what I'm saying?
right, right.
It did not dawn on me that he was the same, that he was Ice Tray from daggone Fresh Prince of Bel Air. That's the same dude. It did not even click. Don Cheadle is amazing.
This had great acting, and you could tell this is a budget. So they opened up the books on this one,
Mm-hmm.
and we got 2 episodes left. So I
Yeah.
wonder how much more of the checkbook they're going to open up even for that, considering we bought out two Black Hawk helicopters, and they're going motorcades and explosions,
we
and
got we got a Groot arm. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
right, a Groot arm, So I am really interested to see how this is going to play out. So the episode starts off where it picks off last week, where where it picks off last week, where Gaia was, want to make sure I'm saying her
yeah,
name right.
guy.
This is
Yeah.
Gaia. Basically, you see her body there, and they're showing, like, I guess, a flashback of her at the Skrull compound that Gravik was in charge of, where she went and she basically she she went to the doctor that's in suspended animation, got information from her how to work the machine, and she made herself a super Skrull. Now, I don't know if she has all of the powers that you saw that they were trying to get from, like, Call Obsidian, Groot, the Extremis, but she got the Extremis variant of the Super
It
Skrull.
really feels like she only got the extremists.
Right. So you saw when Gravik shot her last week, he realized that she was a mole, and she got shot, like, near the heart. And you was like, oh, she's dead, but she can't be dead. But she's not. She the extremist basically was like, nope, not today. Healed her up, and she came back too. And then we pick up to where Nick Fury's wife, Zaina, is meeting
Zara.
Zara. I keep Zaina.
Call that girl Zayna.
It's a girl I work with named Zaina. Shout out to you,
Okay,
Zaina,
okay,
by the
okay,
way.
okay.
So Zara is meeting, she's like at church. And then Don Cheadle, like I said, we still don't know what government, like, position he has. Just willy-nilly walks on up in here, sits beside her, and is talking to her about, hey. And she was like, yeah, your boy, he retired. And he was like, you ain't retired, I fired him. That's what I did. Don Cheadle, like
He
you said,
said
was
he
the
said I DDT him
DDT
off the
off
top
the
rope.
top rope. He said Undertaker style. He said Undertaker style. He said, and it felt good. He was like, he felt so good to do it. And so he basically told her, like, hey, time for him to go. Get rid of him, kill him. And this right here is why you can tell that this is when you start to realize that, okay, Don Cheadle character is a Skrull, because how he's acting. And that goes to show you, too, the acting prowess of Don Cheadle. You've seen him play two versions of himself. We've seen him play the real version of Rhodey, and now we're seeing him play this Skrull over-the-top version of Rhodey. And she's kind of, like, hesitant. She seems like she's hesitant about doing it. And she was like, look, he helped us and stuff. And he was like, man, whatever. What I'm saying? Gravik says it needs to be done. It needs to be done. He says, I'm just here. I'm just a messenger. I'm just here to say what's going on. So then we head on over back to the Fury household, where Zara walks in.
Oh, don't forget that Nick actually was listening to that whole
Right.
conversation.
Nick was listening to the conversation the whole time, and you saw like his heart break when she realized it. He was like, "Oh," you saw him slump down, like, "I'm about to kill this woman, and I love her. Like, God dang, like I really don't want to have to kill her." And it's like, it is crazy with that happening. So then you see another flashback before she go home. You see where there it's like 2012. It's
Yeah, right after the
2012.
Battle of New York.
Yeah, right after the Battle of New York, and they're in, I think, France, London, wherever the hell they're at,
Probably
and
Paris.
Paris. And then Fury meets her at a cafe, and they're talking. And she was just like, "Yeah, I see that you got all these superhero people save New York." And I was like, who could be the person to get them together? I know somebody. And he was just like, he kind of was like, "Yeah, that's your boy.
It's your boy.
That's your boy." You know what I'm saying? Young Fury up in the house, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, "Yeah, this and that." And then like, they were talking. He was like, "So what are you up to?" And she was saying how like she's reading poetry, a book of poems and poetry, and she starts to read a poem, and he was like, "Well, tell me something about it." And they're talking, and they're acting like a couple, so acting like a couple for the most part. And she reads to them, and then like she was like, the point of that poem, I can't even remember the name of the poem, whatever, was something about the end of it was like she wants to be someone's beloved. She wants to be beloved, basically. And that
Yeah.
is the title of the episode.
And with the poem, it was basically like, I want to be beloved in the earth, which
Mm-hmm.
kind of has a sense of duality because
Mm-hmm.
they're not from the earth,
They're not from
but
the
she
earth,
still
right?
wants to feel like she was a beloved part of our planet, which is
Mm-hmm.
what all the Skrulls really wanted. They wanted their own planet, but since they ain't got one, now they just
Mm-hmm.
want the planet. Forget being beloved. So
Right.
yeah. Real quick tip, real quick thing too. Did you see when Fury walked in that there was a black lady and he was like, he eyed that black lady down?
Yes. Yeah, he was eyeing her. He was like,
Okay, okay, I see
mm-hmm.
you.
He said, "Let this alien chick act up." Like, "What's
Yeah,
up, girl?"
Nicholas J. What's good?
So what we get from oh yeah, so then we come back to present time, and she comes home to the house, and she reaches in that little same like little like dish or whatever that she had got the key for the safety deposit box, and something was in there. I couldn't really tell what it was. I kept trying to rewind back and
Nah,
look
I
and see
round
what
it
it
back. I said, yo, she grabbed the gun
was. Right.
because it was real quick how she slid it out and put it in her lap. Like it was real. I said, hold on. Is that a gun? I
Okay.
said, yeah. She was
Yeah.
slick with it, yo.
So she was slick with it. So then, she walks in and Fury's in there making tea or whatever, saying tea for, and she's like, "Oh," and she was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm making tea." And then she goes into, "Yeah, whenever you do this, either you're coming or you're going," like type thing. She's like, "Which one are you doing?" He was like, "Nah, I'm going." He was like, "Yep, I'm going," whatever, and like. And the thing is, she knows she's been married to this man for how many years now? Probably like 20 odd, 30 odd, some odd years. She knows this man. And she basically starts to figure out just from that, like, this mother, he knows it's about to go down. If he doesn't even let it known off the bat, he's just like, yeah, talking to her. And then he sits down and was just like, yeah, start talking. And he was just like, I'm just trying to figure out, So he just pulls his gun out, sits it on. It's a game of Russian roulette at this point. He pulls the gun out and sits on the table like, yeah. So like, when did you know you was gonna do this type thing? And she was just like, all right, you want to play that game? And she pulls her piece out and sits on the table. And they have like it's heartwarming but heartbreaking at the same time. And it's built and it's tense because you like, man, he gonna really have to kill his daggone wife, man.
Yo, Nick told this lady that you were my greatest mistake.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
bruh.
saying? But on the other hand, I don't even know if I would do it any differently, which is this real life dichotomy
Yeah.
of being like in a relationship to feel like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
like, was my heart and am I doing the right thing?
You know what, bro? I'm gonna tell you that is the perfect example of this of our friend of Jimmy Cozier. Sometimes I love her, sometimes I love her not. I ain't letting her go because she's all I got. That's exactly That's exactly what that was.
Yeah,
That was
shout out to the light skinned summer '02. You know what I'm saying?
right, right. And so basically, he didn't ask her a question. I was like, that's interesting. He just straight up like, so what made you choose this person? I said, oh snap. And you find out what that the lady's real name is. I can't think of it right now. You remember, Rashad, what it was?
No.
She was a doctor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, was a doctor.
It was a doctor. It's just like, what made you, say, how did you choose her, or how did she let you choose her, or whatever? And she basically goes into the story of, she was basically terminally sick, and she was in the hospital, and she said like they saw each other for years. She said like she was going to see her every day, and they talked, they built a relationship, and she was coming to the end. She knew that the lady was coming to an end, and she straight up asked her and told her, hey, how would you like to live on? And basically, I don't know if she showed her that she was a Skrull.
No, but she told her like, look, yo,
yeah,
I ain't really who you think I am. You know what I'm saying?
Right. She was like, it ain't everything is breezy as you see, but you can live on, and I can make sure that happens or whatever. And in the meantime, she also was like, hey, there's a guy, saying you could be with. And she basically described Nick Fury, was like, he's this, he's that, blah, 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 blah. And then the lady agreed. She was like, look, I'm about to die, So she was like, look, I only got 3 requests. I got 3 requests. The first request, I think she said, was like, keep on doing.
Still be a daughter to my parents.
Right, still be a daughter to my parents. And Nick Fury said, you definitely have done that. Okay. Then number 2 was
continue my work.
Continue my work. And he said, yes, you've done that. And he said, the last thing, do right by him. Don't hurt him.
Yeah, don't hurt him.
And then he looked at her, and because he said he agreed to all 2 to the first 2 things. He didn't say nothing about that. He just looked at her, and I was waiting for him to be like, well, are you doing right? I was waiting for him to say that, but he didn't. And then she went on to say, so I basically, she says, I also granted her other wish, which was to bury her at sea, so nobody could find her, and then I became her or whatever. And after that, they talked a little bit more, and then it became, well, I guess we about to see what this is right here. And they basically draw, and you hear, bang, you hear both gunshots. Screen cut away, and you're like, oh, all right. It came a Han Solo versus Greedo, who shot first type thing, or whatever. Oh, I'm giving you all the puns. I'm giving you all the callbacks today. Good and job. So it comes back out, and you see her at first, but you see the bullet in the wall behind her, and then you see Nick Fury and the bullet in the wall, and he was just like, my baby right there. He was happy with it, and he told her like, yep, and they agreed, saying, he was like, yo, they're gonna come after you. And she was like, look, I'm a big girl. I can handle Gravik. I can handle myself or whatever. He was like, all right. And he was like, well, it's time for me to go handle some business. It's just leaving. Then she asked the question. And then this is when Nick Fury really said something cold. It was already cold with the biggest mistake. She was like, if things were different and you was able to see me as I am, as a Skrull, do you think we would have still been together? My man Nick Fury just looked at her, walked away, stopped, turned around, and said, we'll never know. It just walked on out the house. I said, yo.
Yeah, man said, I guess we'll never know.
I guess we'll never. I'm going to give you another call back on that one. I thought about the old school Tootsie Pop commercials. The world may, how many links? The world may never know.
That is hilarious, man. He was like, yo, and I think this is where Nick Fury gets his groove back. I think that was his turning point. You know what I'm saying? Like really letting go that part of his past and understanding that like he's still, of course, he knows he has a place, but like, I'm about to get back on my Nicholas J. Fury grind in here for real. So
you about to see why I was running Shield, Jack. That's what you about to see for real. So then we cut to Talos and Gaia having a father-daughter conversation, on the bench. And so you find out basically that she wasn't with her father the entire time, but it was after, I guess, the information came out that she found out like they were responsible for her mother passing, and then the other crazy stuff that Gravik is trying to do. She basically told her dad like, "Hey," and she stayed in there, and he was like, "Yo, I never should have put you in that type of danger, type thing, whatever." And they're having a conversation. She was like, "It's okay, this and that," but then she gets kind of pissed off when she was like, "So what do you want out of this?" And he was just like, "Yo, I think that, we can talk to the humans and be able to, I'm going to plead to their humanity that, hey, we can all 1 million of us can stay here on the planet." And she's like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Your plan
so
is trash.
she was like, right. She was like, what? So she's like, "You don't want to be who you are. You like walk around in our own skin." And he was like, "Hey, I mean, it's a home. These people." She was like, "Yeah, I'm a good." And she just walks away and leaves him leaves him on the bench or whatever. And then next scene, we finally see not necessarily the big reveal, but the reveal that basically what you've been saying since the beginning of this. You go back to a shower scene. I was like,
we got a scroll in the shower.
in the shower. And I was like, "Is that Fury's wife getting ready?" Or
But in
whatever.
my mind, I was like, that's not Fury's wife.
That's not
You know what I'm
Fury's
saying?
wife. And then the Skrull looks in the mirror and is like,
I feel like she was like, this again.
right. It was a female Skrull too, though, won't it? Okay, yeah. So this female Skrull turns into Rhodey. And I was like, oh. And and Rhodey's just like, "Yep, okay, cool." And Rhodey comes out, gets dressed. And he comes in his suite in his hotel. And there goes Nick Fury, just sitting right there but he was like, "The hell you doing here?" Nick Fury said, "Hey man, I come to appeal to you." Like, I didn't like how things ended between us, So I
Yo,
got I got a 26-year-old
20,
bottle of
23-year-old bottle of
bottle of
Pappy Van Winkle.
Happy Van
And
Winkle.
I looked it up.
Is that real?
This bourbon is real and it is really expensive.
I think they say it
Like
was like they say he paid like
it's $5,000 for that
5,000.
bottle.
Really?
And that's on like the cheap end. I saw bottles for sale like $23,000 for some Pappy Van Winkle. It's like it's a real Kentucky bourbon, right?
Yeah, uh-huh.
But they age it for legit 23 years.
That's
You know what
crazy.
I'm saying? They only do small batches. So
and I'm a bourbon guy myself. So I really would like to try it, but I'm
and this thing I can't credit this to me. Shout out to me, rock stars. This is also the same bourbon that douchey dude from the intelligentsia was trying to get when he was with She-Hulk that he ordered.
Oh, that what? Oh,
yeah.
All right. So Pappy,
yeah, Pappy Van Winkle is the
Pappy
MCU's
Van
liquor.
Winkle's in MCU liquor. Bourbon is liquor. So yeah. So he was like some good old Pappy. He was like, and he was like, "So here, let's talk it out." And he was like, "How I know you ain't gonna poison me?" He was like, "Poison you? Man, you think He says no, and then he was like, "Well, why don't I pour it out?" And he said, "If you pour out that daggone drink, Mike," he said, "We gonna really have a problem then or whatever." And so he poured, so he poured, and they have their little conversation, and Nick Fury is basically making it seem like, "Come on, man, let me get my job back."
Yeah,
I want my job.
he was low key saying, "Hey man, I got a proposition for you. How about you get my old job back?" He said, "Hey man, the scrolls." Like Nick was like, it was so funny how he played it up. He said, "Oh man, scrolls in the government." And he was like, and like Rhodey's like, "This again? Like, come on, bro." He sounded reasonable, man. Look at my job back.
He said, and then he was like, "Well, how close are they?" He said, "Just as close as you and me right now." Right there.
Yes.
That was the best part right there. So then they were talking, and he was like, "So either you give me my job back, or I just, go to the president and let everybody know, hey, this is going on." And then Rhodey was like, I'm gonna call him Scrolly because he's a scroll. So Scrolly is
I want to call him Scrotum. You know what I'm saying?
So Scrolly says, "I got a counter proposition for you." Goes and grabs a jump drive, pops it in. It was like, it shows the video of Maria Hill getting killed by Gravik Nick Fury that we saw from the first episode. It was like, how about I turn that in and you go to jail for the rest of your life type thing. And he was like, Yeah, he said I can see it now. He was like, well, I still tell him. He was like, yeah, I can see it now. I don't think you'd be real credible. What you gonna say? Oh, little green men taking over the daggone, you know what I'm saying?
He was
Taking
like,
over
what? The alien defense?
the alien defense.
Which
And
almost sounds like people that had trying to use that, you know what I'm saying, since aliens actually appeared on Earth, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And so he was like, yeah. So he said, so what's gonna happen is you're gonna get out of my suite and I'm gonna take Pappy with me too while we at it. And then he was just like, all right, bye. And so he leaves. And of course, Nick Fury being Nick Fury, no, because the guy was like, no, remember, he was like, you poisoned me? He says, no, I wouldn't poison you. Nanobites, maybe.
Nanobots, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe. He said, I wouldn't poison you. And basically, you see Fury in a car with Talos, and they're like, he's like, liquid tracking. It's like basically so tracking device inside the bourbon so that he drank and they can know exactly where Scrody is and know all his locations.
Which is funny because at the beginning he called it liquid lunch. And then he calls it liquid location.
liquid location.
A little bit of alliteration there, guys. Good job. I see. We see.
and so you know, you see that they're Rhodey heads to the airport to meet with the president of the United States to pick him up, and he's
drunk as hell.
Hell. Like that. Hey, listen, either that or that lets you know that Pappy is strong.
Come on, bro. 23 years?
Yeah, aged? That jank is strong.
It's
right. So he meets the president and says, hey, you know, everything's cool, set up. We got the caravan here. We're going to take you to where you got to go. And this is that. And he was just like, he says, did a little pregame in there. He said, you did a little pregame in there, Rhodey? And he was like,
the funny part, he was like, hey, man, I got a little word of advice. He said, something that Lennon said, you know what I'm saying?
He said Lennon, not John.
Not John.
Not John. He was
Vladimir.
Like, Vladimir.
Who was it, Lennon? Was it Vladimir? I don't know.
It was Lennon. It was Lennon, but he was not John. Whatever.
Yeah. He's like, yeah. So he said, when he said, basically he was telling him, like, don't be no punk out here. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
Which is like,
right, don't flinch to the Russians.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like you gotta be a show of strength. Since his weird quote about when you press with flesh, keep going. But if it's like you feel still, that's when you stop. So president's looking at him like, man, you know, somebody get this man a cup of coffee on the way there.
Yeah, get him so he can be great. And then he was, hey man, give me some breath mints. You know, so he's like, give me some mints. Now before we get to
the funny part is like, hold on, if we get to that, like he still get the breath mints, and then he still tells dude to open the car door for him, even though his arm is broke.
Right. He's like, give me some breath mints.
This dude is like, right. yo, Scrotum is a jerk, yo.
Yeah. So before we get to the main, the big thing that we want to talk about is that earlier in the episode, you saw Gravik talking to his second in command, and they were saying like they were making their plan because somebody was like, where's Gaia? You know what I'm saying? At the base. That goes Pagan. To show you Pagan. Pagan was like, where's Gaia? That goes to show you that he was like, yeah, she's already been taken care of. He says, are we ready to handle our plan? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. He says, well, how big do you want to do it? He said, you're Russian. Do it as big as the Russians, you know what I'm saying, would do it so we can get this, you know, war started and start, you know what I'm saying, their campaign of Skrull domination of planet Earth. So let's get back to where we are. So it's a caravan, probably about 8 cars deep or something like that. Eight cars deep like that. And Rhodey is in one car, the president's in the other. The next thing you know, they're driving and Rhodey makes the call and he says, hey, president is in the 4th car. Just give you a heads, just let you know that's where he's. God dang, the president's in the 4th car. So
they called him the Citadel was the code name. Citadels is in car 4.
Is in car 4, and so they're driving, and next and like you know Fury and Talos are they're following behind for a distance. And then the next thing you know. You saw 2 choppers come through, and they shot a rocket at that
style.
Chopper style. You saw they shot at that dago that 4th car. The president Jay flipped in the air and landed on top, and it became a straight out like a mini war zone. You
Mm-hmm.
saw all the Secret Service folks hop out with their guns. They shooting, trying to shoot the chopper down. The chopper still shooting back at them. And then you see other cars coming that are part of the chopper with Gravik people, and they're trying. And I look like they're trying to get the president. You know, what I'm saying they're
Yeah.
trying to get to the president. The whole time, Scrody is just in the car sitting there like
Calmly, just waiting.
just waiting for everything to clear up or whatever, and Fury basically shows up with Telos and he pops open the trunk and he builds this little shotgun together and they start taking people out. And then one of the Skrulls like, yo, Fury's here. You saw Gravik face like, this just won't go away. He had that look like he just won't go away. And so finally, Gravik unleashed his group power this time. So last episode we saw the extremist power, and now you saw the group power. Arm turned into the group vine. And he daggone like crushed the dude to death, and they're sitting there and they're still fighting. And then there's like, is it like Russian reinforcements or something?
It's British. Like first, Gravik people come in. You know what I'm saying? And then you get like the reinforcer of like UK reinforcements come in on the backside.
Yeah.
And they kind of ironically surround Nick and Talos, and they go head towards the president. President is upside down, basically unconscious. And Talos is trying to bang the door.
That window.
Bang the window. Yeah, because the
window's
window
for a president. Yeah.
It's like 5 inches thick or some nonsense like that. So it's a thick boy. So
yeah,
he used all his little Skrull strength to hit it open. And then Pagan sees him doing this. Bam, shoots him. And he's bleeding. And he's like halfway human, halfway Skrull.
I know, he's like,
yeah. That's hilarious. And he's trying his best to open up the window, you know what I'm saying?
Hold it together at the same time.
Yeah, and he's not holding it together. Dude smiles like, oh my God, it's an alien.
Yeah.
And Nick is like, he's with us.
He's with us. He's like, with me. He with us.
Yeah. And he was like, okay. So finally are able to break it, you know what I'm saying? And get him out. All of a sudden, we see that same soldier who was about to shoot Talos is holding Talos up and is like, "Hey man, come with me." So because
in the meantime, Fury's already got the president.
Yes, yeah. Got pressed to his feet by the seconds of the car, and then niggas like, "Hold on, yo, this ain't right. Who is this?"
Put him down, bro.
Shot him. He he immediately turns into Gravik. So like the amount of control that Gravik has over his shapeshifting, I feel like that's been enhanced too. Because he didn't turn into a Skrull, he's turned back into regular Gravik.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then Nick shoots him right there in his face.
Yeah.
Bam. He's like, I eat those. And then
you saw the defeat in Nick's face, like
Nick was like, oh snap.
Yeah.
I ain't seen this in like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Extremis is back.
Yeah.
So Talos is like, he's out of it, man. Not understand what's going on. And then Gravik says,
shanked him right
in the heart, yo.
Yeah.
Talos fall. Gravik looks at him and laughs, basically. And then Pagan's like, yo, we gotta get out of here. Hop on the motorcycle. And he rides off. Your boy's bleeding out on the ground. And this is the second episode of the season where Nick Fury has to leave his friend behind.
He was looking like
this is
the
same week.
I gotta get the president out of here. And he basically had to make a call, and he got the president out, and episode ends.
Which is crazy because the ramifications is now people are gonna. It depends on how they play this, because this could easily be like, hey, we got aliens on the planet that shapeshift, because everybody saw that who was there. Well, a lot of people saw who was there. Are they gonna play it up now of this whole Skrull invasion is gonna have like more solidarity? Because come on now, there was no way that Talos' plan was going to work, and Gravik's plan, it almost seems very much like smash and grab, because there's no finesse to it. He just wants to spark something, But I wonder how that's gonna play the next two episodes in regards to like the current course of what they're showing that they're planning to be.
Yeah, and one thing they've done with this show is they haven't shown any like teaser trailers, so you really have no idea how this is going to go. And yeah, so we got the penultimate episode next week, and then the finale. And whew, so all I gotta say is, and the quote, the great ring wrestler announcer Jim Ross, business has picked up, is about to pick up, really about to pick up, man. So
Definitely,
yeah,
man.
really good
Great,
episode.
great
And it's,
episode. Even if
yeah,
it's like 30 minutes long.
yeah,
Just some future talk. Definitely next week, probably like Monday, Tuesday. Gonna be doing Mission Impossible 7. Like I really want y'all to go see it so we can actually have conversation in the comments because
yeah,
it's maybe the best one yet. And I really feel like we should do like a Rebels rewatch or like a Rebels explainer because Ahsoka is so heavy Rebels, and I know a lot of people did not watch Rebels. We should go
yeah,
back and kind of just talk about
yeah,
each of the seasons and
yeah,
just to prep for that, like the prelude to Ahsoka.
yeah. I think it'd be a great
Yeah,
idea
that
for
sounds
that.
good.
Yeah,
Also, because we're gonna need some content. It's gonna get real dry real fast.
yeah.
But yeah, that's really it for this, man. Make sure that you are subscribing to the thing. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We will see y'all next week.